If you want to stop feeling anxious, obsessive, controlling, or like food has power over you, this episode is going to tell you the one thing that you need to start doing right away. Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast, a show where you'll learn how to heal your relationship with food and your body so that you can focus your time and energy on more important things like your personal growth. I'm your host, Sabrina Magna, food freedom coach, and my mission is to help make your life happier and healthier without stress, overwhelm, or guilt about food. If you love the show, please do go out and share it. And if you're looking for support with your relationship with food, details about my programs are in the show notes. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump in. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I am really so happy to be sitting back here behind the mic. It feels like I haven't done a solo episode in a long time, which I know isn't true, but I just love doing these so much. And oh man, today's episode, you will want to listen because no matter what you're struggling with when it comes to food, whether it is that you feel like you can't step out of your comfort zone of what is quote unquote safe foods, like you're eating the same things over and over again, or you are really struggling with emotional eating, or you're just feeling a lot of anxiety and this need for control around food, you are going to get so much out of this episode. So I always like to kind of fill you in on what's been going on. I always ask myself, okay, what's some new things that I want to tell you Live Unrestricted fam about? And honestly, there's not that much. The first one is that I started a newsletter, which doesn't sound that crazy, but I've been wanting to do this for a couple of months now. And I send out emails every week to my email list. If you're on the email list, you know. But I really wanted to start something that would be really fun, that I get to share some daily/weekly action tips and mindset shifts and things that are helping me, things that are helping my clients, conversations that I'm having with my clients inside of FFA, and then just a glimpse into my life. And I sent the first one last week. And I got so many responses. I got so many replies of how much you're enjoying the newsletter. So I'm going to be doing it every Friday. And if you are not on my email list, then definitely make sure to get your butt on it. The unfortunate thing is that I don't yet have a way for you to subscribe to my newsletter. I had a meeting with my assistant this morning. I was like, I actually need to have a way for people to get on the email list for the newsletter. So that is in the works. But right now, the only way for you to get on my email list is through my free workshop. So if you're not on my email list yet, but you want to hear from me, you want to get tips and strategies into your inbox every week, you can go to the show notes where you're going to find the link to watch my free training all about how to stop feeling obsessed with food. And regardless, you're going to get so much value from the training. So that's that. It's festival season here in Montreal. If you haven't been to Montreal in the summer, it is so special. Like this week was Jazz Fest and it's all free. So it's all a bunch of acts that come and you get to listen to live music. 2 weeks from now is JFL. So just for laughs. Wow. And it's comedians and it's just like, there's so much positive energy and that's what I've been doing. And I love going to these events. So this summer has been really fun so far, but I really want to get into it. Let's get into the topic for today, which is how to finally lessen or get rid of your anxiety around food. So this topic really came to me through conversations that I was having with my clients inside of Food Freedom Academy, which, by the way, I get a lot of messages on Instagram and email asking how you can work with me. The Food Freedom Academy is the best way that you can get my support. You can get my guidance, my strategies, my frameworks, my methods. And what it really is, it's an online program. So it's step by step. You get my online course. You get coaching and community where I do monthly calls, two calls a month, actually. And we do coaching, we do hot seats, we do workshop style kind of calls. You get a private group. You get to connect with the other members inside of Food Freedom Academy. You have all these fun bonuses. It's the most comprehensive program that's going to help you reconnect to your body, rewire the thoughts and beliefs that you hold around food in your body that are holding you back. Learn how to regulate your emotions so that food is no longer your emotional crutch, something that you feel like you need to turn to whenever you feel stressed or lonely or bored. And we also talk about how to create a sustainable, health promoting lifestyle that feels good for you. So around nutrition, around movement, around self-care, it's so complete. So that is the best way to work with me. You can find all of the information to Food Freedom Academy in the show notes, sabrinamagna.com/FFA. But coming back to today's topic, one thing that I am personally working on is letting go of control. And it's difficult, right? We live in a world where we like certainty. We like control. And I used to control my food and my weight and exercise. And thankfully, I moved out of that. But then it translated into work, right? So trying to manipulate and control and feel like I have a hand in everything. And I have gone so much better, but I'm always tuning back inwards and evaluating how things are feeling. And especially, I would say in the past couple of weeks, I've noticed this is something that I want to put my attention back on. And I know that this is something that you probably struggle with as well. Before we get into the teaching of this episode, I want you to think about one aspect of your relationship with food or with your body. So it could be around body image, it could be around food that you feel has power over you. And the best way to know is it feels compulsive. It feels like you know that it's not serving you. You know that you want to change, but it feels like you can't. It feels like you're so scared and you're so anxious that you would prefer to stay in your current patterns than to go through the very scary process of breaking free from that. So I'll give you some examples. Let's say that you are currently eating the exact same thing almost every single day. And the reason that you're doing that is because those are your quote unquote safe foods. And you know exactly how many calories are in it. You know exactly how it's going to make you feel. And it's just for you, that is safety. And you don't want to live this way for the rest of your life. You want to be able to be adventurous with food. You want to be able to eat a wide variety of foods. You want to eat the same thing as your family because right now you're having to make you're having to make a different meal for yourself. That could be the thing that you think about and that you work through today's episode. It could also be that you want to learn how to sit with your emotions. You want to break this pattern, this pull that food has over you whenever you're feeling stressed or lonely or bored. But maybe that feels really scary and unsafe for you. And you know that turning to food doesn't help in the long run. And it really only makes things worse. But it's like you can't break that pattern. I'll give you the example for me. There's a few things that I do when it comes to my business that I know is coming from a place of control, controlling energy, and it feels almost obsessive. And you really want to ask yourself, what is my ego? What is my mind telling me is going to happen if I don't do this behavior? And it really catastrophizes, right? Like if I don't do this, then my entire business is going to fall apart. Those are some thoughts that I've had. I've had thoughts. Sometimes I feel like I need like a week-long vacation. I need like a week where I just don't work and I clear my mind. And don't get me wrong, I love my work. I love it so much. But I also struggle to take vacation. And Luke is always telling me, babe, you haven't taken a vacation in so long. And I know intellectually that taking a vacation is actually going to be really good for me and for my business, because you can't work constantly and you get to a point where it's like the law of diminishing returns. And so I know intellectually that taking a week off from work would be really, really beneficial. But my nervous system does not feel safe around doing that. And the stories that my mind tells me is that if I take a week off of work, everything is going to fall apart. I am going to be so behind. My clients are going to need me. Like really, really catastrophic thinking. And so I want you to think about what that thing is for yourself. Let's use another example. Maybe it's not weighing yourself. Maybe I don't want to keep weighing myself every single day, but your nervous system is not allowing you to stop that behavior. And remember that your nervous system is wired in survival, and your nervous system is much more powerful in quote unquote controlling your behaviors than your conscious mind, which is why it feels really frustrating when your conscious mind is like, I know that I should do this. I know that this is going to help. I know that this is going to get me closer to the life that I want to live, the freedom and the peace. But your nervous system won't allow you to stop doing that behavior or to start doing a behavior that you know would be really helpful for you. So I hope that at this point, you have thought about what that thing is for you. And also just to say that if you want to do this with a non-food or body related thing, have at it. It might be around boundaries. Like, that there are people in your life who keep stepping over or intruding on your energy and your boundaries. And it might be because you've never set boundaries and you know that you need to set boundaries, or you might need to create distance between people. But your nervous system is telling you all of these stories about, well, if I set this boundary, if I say something, that they're going to get super mad and they're going to yell at me and our friendship, our relationship is going to end, right? Like we really catastrophize. So once you have what that thing is that is compulsive, is coming from a place of control, is causing anxiety for you, let's talk about what you actually need to do in order to feel safe doing the thing that you need to do. Let's use the example of you not weighing yourself every single day. Maybe it's you go a week without weighing yourself. One really important concept that you need to understand is that your nervous system learns through experience. I'm going to say that again, and I need you to write it down. I need you to repeat it over and over and over again. I've repeated it so many times at this point with Luke that now he repeats it back to me. And I think it's the cutest thing in the world because I'm like, yes, good student. Your nervous system learns through experience. So what does that mean? Right now, your nervous system does not feel safe doing that thing that you know you need to do. It catastrophizes and it goes to all of these worst case scenarios of what might happen if I stop weighing myself. Then I'm going to completely let myself go. I'm going to start binging all day long. And then I'm going to step on the scale a month from now. And because I'm going to have let go of all control, I'm going to be 40 pounds heavier. That's the story that you tell yourself. Or if I stop using food whenever I feel stressed, when I feel bored, when I feel lonely, that I'm just constantly going to be an emotional wreck because my emotions aren't going to have an outlet anymore. And so I'm going to be even more anxious, even more stressed, and my life is going to fall apart. Really notice the stories that your mind is creating about what might happen. And so your nervous system does not feel safe doing that thing, because doing that thing that you know you need to do is extremely dangerous. It feels like it's a threat to your survival. And so you're going to continue doing the thing that feels safe and comfortable for you, even if it's not serving you. Like, think of, let's say, weighing yourself daily. The amount of members inside of Food Freedom Academy who told me that once they stopped weighing themselves, the amount of freedom, the amount of peace that they gained, how much their mood improved, how much their self-esteem improved, how much their self-love improved. And what happened because of that? Because they weren't hating themselves every day, because their life wasn't controlled by their weight every day, well, they actually started to improve their habits around food. Sounds counterintuitive, right? You think that weighing yourself every day is the thing that is keeping you in check. But what they realized is, now that they didn't have this number on the scale that would dictate how they could eat that day or how they could feel about themselves that day, well, then they started tuning inwards. How do I feel today? What do I want to eat today? What would feel good for my body today? Things started being around, how could I treat myself better? How could I feel better? Versus how could I make that number on the scale as low as possible? And another thing about doing this is that they realized that because they weren't constantly thinking about that number on the scale, well, they allowed themselves to eat to a point of nourishment. So they weren't trying to, like, quote unquote, be good or eat low calorie or low carb all day in order to eat as little as possible. And what that used to do when they would do that is they would restrict all day, but then they would binge at night because of rebound hunger, because of the rebound from deprivation and restriction. And so what they realized is that when they no longer felt controlled by that number on the scale, they were nourishing themselves properly and consistently throughout the day, and they weren't binging at night. And so they actually felt better. Their bodies felt better. And I had a client, I was just looking at some notes, who had sent me a message and said, I've lost 15 pounds without even trying, because that no longer was the focus. And so what you might not even realize is that the things that you're doing right now that you think are helping you, or at least that your nervous system feel is helping you, you really have to stop and evaluate, is it actually? Like, bringing your conscious mind into it. Is this actually helping me? Is this actually serving me? But that's only a tiny piece of it, because oftentimes we get to a point where we realize this is not serving me, and yet I can't stop. And so this is where you and I have to talk, because the only way to let go of control. The only way to change the behaviors that aren't serving you, the only way is, you're going to hate this. You're going to hate this so much. The only way is to practice. It is to show your nervous system that when I do this thing or when I stop doing this thing, the worst case scenario that you keep creating in my mind doesn't actually happen. And the problem is that most people, they don't do this piece. So you might be doing this. I did this for the longest time, so I really, really get it. And I'm getting like goosebumps all over my body right now. And so I know that this is something that you need to hear. You might be listening to all of the podcasts. You're listening to this one. You might be following the social media accounts. Maybe you're reading the books. Maybe you are watching the YouTube videos or doing the trainings, the free trainings, but you're intellectualizing all of the knowledge without actually going through the motions and applying it and taking the actions in your life. So for example, let's say that I wanted to become a better dancer. And I'm using this example because I have some friends here who do salsa dancing, and I think it would be really fun and I would want to do it with them. But my nervous system is like, no, this is unsafe. This is dangerous. You're going to make a fool of yourself. You're going to be so embarrassed. You're going to have the worst time in the world. Is that true? Of course not. But that's the story that my nervous system is creating. So I could listen to all of the podcasts in the world of stories from people who felt the same way, who were so scared of starting salsa dancing, who weren't good dancers, who weren't athletic, who started doing it and realized how much they loved it and that they didn't need to be the best and they didn't even need to be good. It was just about having fun and connecting with people. I could read all of the books about how to become a good salsa dancer. I could fill my Instagram with videos of people doing salsa dancing. But am I actually going to face my fears? Am I actually going to be able to reap the benefits, the fun, the enjoyment of doing the salsa dancing if I never go to a freaking class or go to an event to do it and to show my nervous system, hey, this was actually fun. No, you weren't the best. And maybe at some points you made a fool of yourself, but no one cared because there were other people there who were just having fun. Your nervous system learns through experience. And so I will never feel safe doing the thing and then doing it again and again and again and repeating it and reaping the benefits from it until I give my nervous system the evidence, the experience of doing it. I'll give you more examples for this to be really concrete for you. I had a member who came into Food Freedom Academy and she, like, her biggest goal was, I really want to learn how to stop using food as a crutch. Whenever I feel anxious, whenever I feel bored, whenever I feel lonely, whenever I feel dysregulation in my body, right now, I just keep turning to food. And what I thought was so beautiful about this member is that she knew, she was like, I know what I need to do. I am just not doing it. And I need to pay someone to hold me accountable. I need to have some skin in the game because if I don't, I'm going to keep finding excuses. I'm going to keep procrastinating. I'm going to keep pushing it off. And so I need someone who is going to hold me accountable to do the thing that I know I need to do, which is to practice. And so, of course, we go deeper into strategies and exercises that you can do in order to learn how to regulate your nervous system. And a couple of weeks, I think it was 2 weeks into the program, she shares in our group, I had a really hard emotional week, and I was able to sit with my emotions. I didn't even want to turn to food. And I never thought that this would be possible. And what I said to her was, do you realize how important it is that you went through that discomfort? Because we're not going to lie, feeling anxious, feeling stressed, feeling sad, it's not fun. None of us like feeling this way. But being able to show your nervous system, I sat with my emotions, I felt them, and I didn't die. This is so important because oftentimes we honestly feel like we're going to die if we just sit and do nothing, if we don't try to numb or distract ourselves or push the things down by watching TV or scrolling on our phone or eating. We don't do it because we think, oh my God, the feelings are going to be so uncomfortable that I can't handle them. And so when she was able to do that, what that does is it gives you this evidence. It gives you this experience so that the next time you're feeling stressed, the next time you're feeling anxious, well, you can hold on to that and say, well, I've done it before. I've sat with my emotions before and I didn't die. So I can do it again. And then you do it again. And now you've got 2 experiences in your back pocket. And then you do it again. Your nervous system only learns through implementation. It only learns through practice. So if you've been listening to this podcast and you resonate with everything that I talk about and it all makes sense to you and you listen every week, I love that you're doing that. And I think it's really important. But if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you understand all of this, but it's not translating into tangible changes and results in your life, you have to ask yourself, am I putting this into practice? Am I getting on the field and playing? Or am I just on the sidelines? I could listen to all of the podcasts in the world about letting go of control. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I do that, right? Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to get myself in the headspace because especially this week, I was like, my goal is more surrender, more letting go of control. And so I want to get myself in the headspace. But I can't fool myself into thinking that just by listening to the podcast, that's going to translate into a difference in my life. I have to do the thing that I don't want to do. I have to show my nervous system that when I take some time off or when I don't overwork, my business doesn't implode. As long as I don't show my nervous system that this is safe to do and it actually serves me to do this thing, nothing's going to change. And this is a universal law. If you don't show your nervous system that, hey, when I do this, and it was really scary for me, and it was really uncomfortable, things didn't fall apart, then I can do it again. So let's say we're going to go back to this example of not weighing yourself. Let's say that you give yourself a challenge to do it for a week. Okay, for the next week, I'm not going to weigh myself. And let's just see what happens. And then you don't do it and you realize, oh, that wasn't that bad. Oh, things didn't fall apart. Maybe I can do it for another week and another week after that. And that's how you change your patterns. One of the things I was sharing with my FFA members is the power of doing experiments with a set time frame. Because the thing is, that if I were to tell my nervous system, I'm just going to stop doing this thing that you've been relying on to feel a sense of control, this sense of grounding, this sense of safety. I'm just going to cold turkey stop doing it forever. That's going to be really, really destabilizing for your nervous system. And you're not going to want to do it because it feels super unsafe. And so what are you going to do? You're going to do the lovely thing that we all do. You're going to procrastinate, or you're going to find excuses masked as really valid reasons as to why you can't do it or why you won't do it. You're going to push things off. And so if you, let's say, are used to weighing yourself every single day, and then you say, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Some people can do it. Don't get me wrong. But if you're noticing a shit ton of resistance and you keep procrastinating and you say, I'm going to start next week, I'm going to start next week, I'm going to start next week, well, you will really benefit from doing experiments with a definite time frame. And that means start with 7 days. Okay, for the next 7 days, I am going to not weigh myself. Or for the next 7 days, I'm going to, whenever I notice myself getting stressed or anxious, instead of immediately turning to food, I'm going to just step out and take 10 deep belly breaths. That's it. And you want to really tap into yourself and see what feels doable for me, what feels challenging, right? Like you don't want to stay in your comfort zone, but what feels doable for me. So let's use the example of you eat the same thing every day. So it might be I'm going to 3 times a week eat the same dinner as my husband or my kids. It might be 1 time this week if you feel like 3 times is too much. Or it might be every day this week if you're feeling up to it. But starting with a set time frame. Because what this does is it gives your nervous system a sense of safety around the idea that if after 7 days of doing this, your entire life falls apart, you can go back to what you were doing before. So let's say that you gave yourself an experiment of, for the next 7 days, I'm going to act as the person who has a very healthy relationship with food. I'm going to embody that person. I'm going to think like her. I'm going to act like her. I'm going to show up in the world as her. And maybe that feels really scary for you. Well, give yourself an experiment. I'm going to do that for 7 days. And if after 7 days, my entire life falls apart, I can go back to acting as the person who has a tumultuous and chaotic relationship with food. It sounds, I know that saying this all out loud, it sounds crazy to say because you're like, no, of course that's going to help me. But your nervous system does not know that. Your nervous system really just likes what is familiar and what is comfortable. And so doing these short-term experiments, what it does is it gets you to do the thing that you're scared of doing. And there's not that much damage that you can do in 1 week. Like, let's say that you don't weigh yourself for 7 days. Well, let's go to the worst case scenario, which is so unlikely, but it can be really helpful to actually show your nervous system what is the worst case scenario. So what might be the worst case scenario? Maybe you're like, I could gain 15 pounds, which gaining 15 pounds in a week, I don't know, it's a stretch, but again, it is what it is. So let's say that worst case scenario, you stop weighing yourself for a week and it just turns into a full-blown binge fest and you gain 15 pounds. Well, at the end of the 7 days, you can choose to say, all right, that didn't work for me. That was a disaster. So I'm going to go back to weighing myself. And as I'm probably saying this out loud, you're recognizing, oh, but that's so unlikely. That's like, of course, that's not going to happen. But the problem is that most people never shine a light on the worst case scenario that your brain is creating. And so what it does is it stays in your subconscious mind and it controls your behaviors and your emotions. And it's only once you bring it from the basement of your subconscious mind to the first floor of your conscious mind that you see it for what it is. And you're like, this is so unlikely, like this, or sometimes it's impossible. You're like, oh, I know that this is not going to happen. But it's important to do this because our subconscious mind is not always rational and it's not always rooted in reality either. So bringing it to our conscious awareness can be so incredibly powerful. So as we wrap things up, I'm going to kind of go over the most important thing that you need to do. You need to practice. You need to put things into action. Reading the books, listening to the podcast, all of those things are helpful, but they will do nothing if you're not putting into action. And this is the reason why so many people invest in programs or coaches, because they know what they quote unquote should be doing, but they're not doing it because they have no reason to. They have no pressure to. They have no skin in the game. This is the reason why I invest thousands and thousands of dollars in my business, because there's things that I have to do every single day that are scary as F, that are so scary. And if I didn't have that little nudge to be like, well, you invested this money and you have these coaches who are going to check in on you, well, I probably would find reasons not to do it. And so it's being super honest with yourself of why am I not doing the things that I know are going to help me, that I know that I need to be doing. And oftentimes it's just because we avoid the uncomfortable emotions. We avoid the fear. We avoid the risk of looking stupid or the risk of failing. You will probably make mistakes. And doing some of these experiments, you might have experiences that don't feel great. Maybe you overeat, or maybe you eat something that doesn't feel good. That's one in 1,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 experiences that you're going to have in your life. And so even if you have something that doesn't feel good, everything is a lesson. Everything is going to help you know what felt good, what didn't feel good, what worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently next time. My life has been built on a series of failures and mistakes because success is a really crappy teacher. And I learn everything that makes me better as a coach. Like if you saw some of the videos that I put out when I first started my business years ago, it is so embarrassing. It is so bad. I'm in my parents' basement. It's like I just cringe thinking about it. But I wouldn't be here now if I hadn't done the things crappy in the past. And so when you have a growth mindset and you just see every mistake, every failure, every setback, every obstacle as something that is trying to show you something, is teaching you something, is shining a light on something, then your successful life will just be built on a series of mistakes, obstacles, and failures. So I hope that today's episode was really valuable for you. If you are someone who feels like, yeah, I need the kick in the butt because I need someone who's going to hold me accountable. I need someone who's going to push me to do the things that I know I need to do. Or maybe you don't even know what you need to do. You're like, I'm listening to all of this and I understand these concepts, but I don't know how to put them into practice. Join the Food Freedom Academy. This is what we do. We give you this step by step and we make sure that you know how to learn from any obstacles, any setbacks along the way. All right. I love you so much. If this episode is valuable for you, you know what to do. Share it with a woman in your life who needs to hear it. Because this isn't just about food in your body. This is about anything in your life. Like for me, for work, anything in your life that you want to transmute, you want to overcome, you want to change. This is a universal law. You just need to practice, and you need to give your nervous system that experience to know that it's safe, that things won't fall apart when you do it, and that you can repeat it again. All right. I love you. I will see you on the next episode. Hey, real quick before you go, if you're loving this podcast and you're thinking, Sabrina, I want more. I want to go deeper. I want a step-by-step process for healing my relationship with food. I've got a free workshop that literally walks you through it. It's a full breakdown of the exact method that I use to help my clients stop binging, heal emotional eating, and finally feel at peace with food and their bodies. It's totally free. So if you're ready to stop feeling obsessed and out of control with food, head to sabrinamagnan.com/training or find the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, I would love if you would share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you're loving the show, don't forget to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. I really love hearing feedback from you, so please leave a rating and review over on Apple to help us get in the ears of more people who need it the most. Finally, come hang out with me on Instagram at Sabrina Magnan Health for more educational content and get up close and personal with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.